My name is Sally Keyes. I'm a math coach at Ida Price Middle School in the Cambrian School District.
I'm Deb Negretti, and I'm the principal at Price Middle School in Cambrian.
I'm Suzanne McSpadden. I'm a math coach in Jefferson School District in Daly City.
I'm Margie Trainer, and I'm a math coach in the San Carlos School District.
I'm Linda Fisher, and I work for the Noyce Foundation, and I help oversee the testing and assessment program.
We use the lesson study as a vehicle in our reengagement. We had given a Mars task, which was a 6th grade task called GYM, and we had taken that student work, and from that student work we had decided to focus on one particular math issue that we wanted to address, and it was multiple representations of cost analysis and the breaking point. And so we, as a group, then decide to use the vehicle of lesson study as far as collaboration and teaching the lesson more than one time, looking at our questions, looking at our prompts, looking at student work, student discussion around the prompts that we had done in class, and then to fine-tune and those prompts in order to get deeper mathematics from our students. And so it was a really valuable process of which we are continuing to use throughout this year around that notion of cost analysis and different representations of cost analysis.
Yeah, so I think I really appreciate looking at the tape to see how we have really gone that full cycle of, you know, looking at student work through assessment and then really using that assessment to go back in the classroom and think, how can we teach in a better way? So as like the teachers I was working with were putting together their lesson, it was so interesting, all the things that you have to think about when you go into a lesson, like, you know, they were really spending a lot of time on the easiest part of the problem, where I probably would have jumped to the hard part, because that's what really intrigues me, is the mathematics of that hard part. And they said, no, by really making them spell out all the thinking on that easy part, then when they get to that harder part, you know, we will see much more interesting answers out of them, and they'll be able to think about it more. So it was really nice to watch how that went from an idea about how to teach a lesson to then how that played out in the classroom. So it was really fun, because, you know, we all have different perspectives, and it's just kind of nice to be able to see the idea and then the actual reality.
And I thought it was interesting, just to kind of build on what you were saying, that that easy part, because we had the same issue, is how much time are we spending on this easy part, gave the students a common experience. So that when you were saying, when you were questioning a child, asking some probing question, they'd all had this common experience within this re-engagement that provided them some vocabulary to build on. And it also gave the teachers something that they know had happened for that student to ask questions about. So it was very powerful for everyone to share in that kind of, not just building understanding, but maybe going back and thinking about, well, what is it that I really do know about this, and maybe never having thought about it before because you've already gone past that, but sharing that with everybody, making that thinking public, and then being able to build on that. And the teachers knew, this is a point at which I can build. I don't have to go back and pre-assess or assess again what students may or may not know. We've had this common experience that we can build on.
Yeah, sort of like a leveling of the playing field.
Yeah.
So that everybody then has access into the later thinking.
And it set up expectations for, since one of the points we were working on was justification, it set up expectations for justification. So what will we be looking for? And since I had already been put out there, it didn't have to be an individual prompt, because it was now a class prompt to do that.
I think for us, and reviewing the video tape of the lesson, was just impressed with the powerful what it could do for really understanding student thinking and deciding on your next steps. We had the most wonderful conversation about what we saw the students doing in the video, and things that we didn't notice during the lesson. We could then the videotape zoomed on conversations that the students were having, and then in looking at their work, we really realized that one of the missing pieces was the understanding of the vocabulary. We were doing a lesson that started with a number talk that looked at plotting the in and the out points on the graph, and that was to then be connected with the growing patterns, and hopefully that we would get the in and the out with the growing patterns and help them understand the different strategies that were being used and so on. But two of the terms that were used, which we took for granted, thought that the students had understood what is staying the same and what is changing, meant very different things when we looked at how they actually were describing what they were seeing in another student's work. This was a piece of the re-engagement back into the Mars task buttons, and it was a growing pattern that they had taken the Mars task, and then the teacher, to get them back into it, gave them some samples of two students that were the work from two students, and then the job of the class was to work in pairs and then decide what they think that the student was thinking, the pattern, how they were representing it. And when they were asked to make a drawing for how that student represented it, it looked very different. And that's when we really understood, okay, what is staying the same and what is changing is not meaning the same things to them as we had thought. So it clearly outlined next steps, which was extremely powerful.
So as people who've done a lot of thinking about these